They say you are what you eat. But can the food you put on your plate actually change the way you think? Honestly, I've always been a little skeptical. Sure, a greasy burger makes me feel sluggish and a coffee wakes me up. But can certain foods truly sharpen my focus, improve my memory, and boost my mental energy in a way I can actually feel? Sounds a bit like science fiction, but the more I looked into it, the more I stumbled upon compelling research that our diet has a massive impact on our cognitive function. We're talking about food not just as fuel, but as medicine for the mind. Still, a part of me wasn't sold. The world is full of quick fixes, and brain food sometimes feels like it belongs in that same category. So I'm putting it to the test. I'm diving into a 1-week challenge. For the next 7 days, I'm going to eat 5 specific, science-backed brain foods every single day. I'm going to track everything: how I feel, my energy, my concentration, even my mood. My goal is to see if these changes can actually make a difference you can notice. Will I feel like a genius by the end of the week? Or will it all just be a placebo effect? Let's find out. This is my 7-day brain food experiment. The 5 foods I've chosen, based on a mountain of studies, are fatty fish for its omega-3s, berries for their antioxidants, nuts and seeds for vitamin E, dark leafy greens for their unique nutrients, and a little high-quality dark chocolate for its flavonoids. Here's the plan. I'm not just going to nibble on these foods. I'm making them the star of my meals every single day for a week, and I'm starting from a place many of you might recognize. Feeling a bit foggy, getting distracted easily, and maybe relying a little too much on caffeine to get through the day. Let the experiment begin. Day 1, the baseline and the beginning. All right, day 1. I woke up feeling exactly how I usually do. A little groggy, scrolling on my phone, and already planning my first cup of coffee. The thought that a piece of salmon for lunch could change this feeling seems ambitious. My focus is usually decent in the morning, but by 2 p.m., that dreaded brain fog rolls in. I find myself rereading the same email 3 times and my productivity just hits a wall. This is my baseline. This is what I'm hoping to change. For breakfast, I started with oatmeal, but with a twist: a big handful of blueberries and a sprinkle of sunflower seeds. For lunch, I had baked salmon with a huge side salad packed with spinach. And for my afternoon snack, I've got almonds and a single square of 75% dark chocolate. Feels healthy, but do I feel smarter? Of course not. This day 1. My skepticism is fully intact. If anything, I'm just more aware of what I'm putting in my body. But let's talk about the why behind today's menu, starting with that salmon. Fatty fish like salmon, mackerel, and sardines are packed with omega-3 fatty acids. Our brain is about 60% fat, and half of that is the omega-3 type, specifically DHA. Think of DHA as the essential building material for your brain cells. These fatty acids help build up the membranes around every neuron, improving their structure so they can communicate better. Studies have shown a direct link between high omega-3 levels and increased blood flow in the brain. More blood flow means more oxygen, which means better thinking. Research also suggests that a consistent, long-term intake of these fats can help slow age-related mental decline. So, while my single piece of salmon today isn't going to rewire my brain overnight, the science says making it a habit is one of the best things you can do. Right on schedule, the afternoon fog started creeping in. I felt that familiar pull towards the coffee pot. I resisted and had my almonds and dark chocolate instead. Did it give me the same jolt as caffeine? Nope. But did I finish my work? Yes. Maybe it was a placebo, or maybe it was just sheer determination. It's way too early to tell. Heading into day 2, my mind is still foggy, but my stomach is full of some very good food. We'll see. Day 2. Sticking with it and the power of plants. Woke up on day 2. No magical transformation. I didn't suddenly have the urge to solve complex math problems for fun. I still feel like my normal, slightly tired self. The skepticism is holding strong. It's easy to eat healthy for a day, but the real test is sticking with it, especially when you're not seeing immediate results. Today's menu was more of the same, just mixed up. I started with a smoothie, spinach, a handful of mixed berries, and some almond milk. It was a surprisingly good and easy way to get in both greens and berries first thing. For lunch, I had a big salad with a kale base, topped with grilled chicken and more sunflower seeds. My afternoon snack was a handful of walnuts and my little square of dark chocolate. For dinner, I got another serving of fatty fish in, this time some sardines on whole grain toast. I have to admit, eating this way makes me feel good physically. I don't have that heavy, bloated feeling I sometimes get after lunch, but the mental effects, still hard to pin down. I'm getting my work done, but I haven't noticed a big shift in focus. I guess this is a slow burn. Let's get into the science of one of today's key players, berries. Those blueberries and strawberries aren't just for decoration. They are packed with antioxidants, specifically a group called flavonoids. Think of your brain as a busy factory. That factory produces waste called free radicals, which can cause damage over time, a process called oxidative stress. Antioxidants are the cleanup crew. They sweep in and neutralize these free radicals, protecting your brain cells from damage and inflammation. Even more interesting, studies show the flavonoids in berries can actually improve communication between brain cells and support neuroplasticity, the brain's amazing ability to form new connections. This is the foundation of learning and memory. Some long-term studies have even found that regular berry consumption can delay memory decline by years. So every handful of berries is like giving your brain a tool to protect itself and build new connections. As the afternoon went on, I did feel a bit more stable. The energy dip wasn't quite as severe. Was it the berries? The lack of sugar? Pure willpower? I'm still not sure. But I'm starting to think this isn't about one magic ingredient. It's about the combination of all these foods, and maybe just as important, the absence of the junk that usually drags me down. On to day 3. Day 3, the first glimmer of clarity. Today, something shifted. It wasn't a lightning bolt. It was small, subtle, but it was there. I woke up on day 3 and, for the first time, I didn't feel like I was fighting through a fog. There was a certain quietness in my mind. The usual mental static seemed to have dialed down a bit. Breakfast was Greek yogurt with a big handful of walnuts and blueberries. For lunch, I made a huge spinach salad with leftover salmon from day 1. And for my afternoon snack, I had an apple with almonds and my now familiar square of dark chocolate. It's becoming a nice little ritual. The moment I really noticed a difference was mid-morning. I was working on a task that required deep concentration, something I usually have to tackle in 15-minute bursts. But I looked up at the clock and realized I had been completely locked in for almost an hour. The distractions that usually pull me away felt more distant, easier to ignore. It was like the volume had been turned down on the noise, and the signal I was focused on was coming through loud and clear. Let's talk about today's stars, nuts and seeds. A handful of walnuts or almonds is more than just a snack. They're loaded with healthy fats, protein, and a crucial nutrient for brain health, vitamin E. Like the antioxidants in berries, vitamin E is a powerful protector, helping to shield cell membranes from damage. Since our brain becomes more vulnerable to the stress as we age, a diet rich in vitamin E is linked to slower cognitive decline. Walnuts, in particular, are the superstars of the nut world. Not only do they look like tiny brains, but they are also one of the best plant-based sources of those omega-3s we talked about on day 1. Studies have shown that regular walnut consumption can help support cognitive health in older adults, while animal studies have linked them to improved memory and learning skills. So that handful of nuts is doing double duty, providing protective vitamin E and a dose of brain-building omega-3s. The clarity from the morning lasted well into the afternoon. I still felt a natural dip in energy, but it wasn't the brick wall I usually hit. It was a gentle slope. I didn't feel that desperate need for caffeine. I just felt stable. This is the first day I'm starting to think, okay, maybe there's something to this. The skepticism is still whispering in the back of my head, but a feeling of clear, sustained focus is getting louder. I'm actually excited to see what day 4 holds. Day 4, sustained energy and the green machine. Today felt different right from the start. There was a new consistency to my energy. The clarity I felt yesterday wasn't a fluke. It was back, and it felt even more solid. I woke up a few minutes before my alarm feeling rested and ready to go, which almost never happens. My food plan today was all about the greens. I started with a scramble, but I first sautéed a huge handful of kale and spinach with onions before adding the eggs. It's amazing how many greens you can pack into a meal. Lunch was a big quinoa bowl loaded with roasted broccoli, chickpeas, and a sprinkle of pumpkin seeds. The afternoon brought my trusty snack of almonds and dark chocolate. I'm noticing I actually look forward to it now. The biggest change I'm seeing is in my mental stamina. Usually, my workday is a series of sprints and slumps. An hour of high productivity followed by an hour of fatigue. Today, it felt more like a steady marathon. I wasn't fighting myself to stay on track. That afternoon fog was more like a light mist. It was there, but I could see right through it. So let's break down the science behind dark leafy greens. Vegetables like spinach, kale, and broccoli are nutritional superheroes for the brain. They're loaded with nutrients like vitamin K, folate, and beta-carotene, which are all consistently linked with slower cognitive decline. Let's focus on 2 of them. First, vitamin K. It plays a key role in building a specific type of fat that's densely packed into our brain cell membranes. Higher vitamin K intake is linked to better memory. Second, folate or vitamin B9. Folate is crucial for healthy blood flow and neurotransmitter function. Some studies even show a deficiency is linked to issues like depression. A study from Rush University found that people who ate just 1 serving of leafy greens per day had the cognitive sharpness of people 11 years younger. I'm 4 days in, and the effect seems to be building. It's not a jittery, caffeinated buzz. It's a calm, sustained, clear-headed energy. I feel more present, less scattered. The heavy skepticism I had on day 1 is almost gone. It's been replaced by genuine curiosity. It feels like I'm actively nourishing my brain, and it's working better for me in return. Okay, we're just past the halfway point, and the results are more noticeable than I expected. That feeling of sustained focus is becoming my new normal. If you're finding this journey interesting, or if you've ever felt that mental slump and wondered if there's a natural way to fight it, make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell. I'd also love to hear from you in the comments. What's one food that makes you feel mentally sharp? Let me know. Now back to the experiment. Day 5, the aha moment and a sweet reward. Day 5 was the turning point. This was the day all the small changes came together into something I couldn't deny. It was the aha moment where I thought, wow, this is really working. It started with memory. In a meeting, someone asked for a specific number from a report I'd read 2 days ago. Normally, my brain would go into frantic search mode. I'd know I read it, but the number would be just out of reach. Today, it was just there. The number popped into my head, clear as day. Later, the same thing happened when I tried to recall a name from a brief introduction last week. It just came to me, no mental gymnastics required. My meals today were a celebration of all 5 brain foods. I had a smoothie with spinach, berries, and flax seeds. Lunch was a huge salad with every green the first could find, topped with walnuts and canned tuna. And then came the afternoon snack, the one I want to focus on today, a rich square of 70% dark chocolate. We've always been told chocolate is a guilty pleasure, but high-quality dark chocolate is a different beast. The magic ingredient is, once again, flavonoids, the same family of antioxidants in berries. Cocoa is one of the richest sources of flavonoids out there. Research shows they can encourage the growth of neurons and blood vessels in parts of the brain linked to memory and learning. They also seem to gather in these brain areas, and studies suggest consuming them can increase brain plasticity, making your brain more adaptable and capable of forming new connections. So that small square of chocolate isn't just a treat, it's a tool. It's delivering a targeted dose of compounds that can improve blood flow, protect cells, and support the very mechanisms of memory. The feeling on day 5 was more than just focus. It was cognitive ease. Things just felt easier. The mental friction was gone. Problem solving felt more intuitive. I felt creative, energetic, and surprisingly happy. The low-level stress that usually hums in the background of my day seemed to have faded. It's an incredible feeling to realize you can influence how your brain works through something as simple as what you eat. My skepticism is officially on its last legs. Day 6, the synergy of a supercharged brain. On day 6, the feeling of well-being was unmistakable. It was no longer about spotting small changes. It was about living in a new reality. I woke up feeling refreshed, my mind was clear, and I had a calm, proactive energy that lasted all day. The brain fog that used to be my daily enemy now feels like a distant memory. Today, I thought about how all these foods work together. I started my day with a brain bowl: quinoa, sautéed kale, a soft-boiled egg, and sliced avocado, sprinkled with pumpkin seeds. It was a perfect mix of greens, healthy fats, and protein. Lunch was a big bowl of lentil soup with a handful of walnuts on the side. My snack was blueberries and my square of dark chocolate. What I'm realizing is that this isn't about one superfood. You can't just eat blueberries and expect a miracle. The real power is in the synergy, how these foods work as a team. Think about it this way. The omega-3s from fish are the building blocks for strong brain cells. The antioxidants from berries and greens are the maintenance crew, defending those cells from damage. The vitamin E from nuts is a specialized shield for cell membranes. The folate from greens ensures the whole system gets excellent blood flow. And the flavonoids from dark chocolate are like performance enhancers, boosting communication. You're not just giving your brain one tool, you're giving it the whole toolkit. And just as important is what I've been avoiding. For 6 days, I've had almost no refined sugar, ultra-processed foods, or greasy junk. Diets high in these things are known to cause inflammation, impair memory, and increase the risk of cognitive decline. So this experiment has been as much about subtraction as it has about addition. The change in my mental state is profound. I feel more resilient. When problems popped up at work today, I didn't feel that jolt of anxiety. I felt calm and centered. It's as if my brain has more capacity to handle stress. That's been the most surprising benefit. It's not just about thinking faster, it's about thinking better one day to go. Day 7, the final verdict and a new beginning. Here we are, day 7, the end of the challenge. I woke up this morning and took stock. The grogginess that was my constant companion is gone. The afternoon brain fog I thought was unavoidable has vanished. The low-level anxiety I'd accepted as part of my personality, it's been replaced by a quiet sense of calm. To celebrate, I made a meal that included all 5 of my brain-boosting foods: a large salmon and spinach salad, topped with walnuts, sunflower seeds, and blueberries. For dessert, I had my square of dark chocolate, which I now enjoy like a fine wine. Let's do a direct comparison. Day 0 me. Skeptical, tired, and fueled by caffeine. My focus was spotty, my memory was hit or miss, and my afternoons were a write-off. My baseline was feeling mentally drained. Day 7 me, a believer. I feel mentally sharper from morning until night. My focus is sustained. My memory recall feels quicker. I have stable, consistent energy all day. I feel more creative, more resilient to stress, and genuinely happier. The difference in how I feel is, without exaggeration, night and day. Was this easy? Mostly, yes. Took some planning, but the foods are delicious and available everywhere. It wasn't about a restrictive diet. It was about mindful addition, building meals around fatty fish, berries, nuts, greens, and dark chocolate. The biggest lesson from this week is the incredible sense of control it's given me. I am not a passive victim of my brain fog. I have felt firsthand that I can influence how my brain performs. The idea of food as medicine is no longer just a concept. It's a lived experience. This 1-week challenge is over, but for me, this way of eating isn't. This feels like the start of something. Why would I ever want to go back to feeling foggy when I know that feeling clear and energetic is just a few good meals away? So, what happens when you eat these 5 foods for 7 days? For me, the change was undeniable. I went from a skeptic to a believer, not because I read it in a study, but because I felt it. The improvement in my focus, clarity, and energy has been a game changer. This journey showed me a simple truth. Our brain isn't fixed. It's a living organ that responds directly to how we treat it. The food we eat is one of the most powerful tools we have to shape our cognitive health. Adding omega-3 rich fish, antioxidant-packed berries, vitamin E-filled nuts, nutrient-dense greens, and flavonoid-rich dark chocolate did more than just change my meals. It changed my mind. This experiment taught me that we don't have to accept brain fog and flagging energy as a given. We have the power to fight back, and our best weapons are in the grocery store. A diet built on whole, nutrient-dense foods can create a virtuous cycle of clarity and resilience. I want to challenge you to try this for yourself, even in a small way. You don't have to be perfect. Add a handful of berries to your breakfast. Throw some spinach in your smoothie. Swap your usual snack for a handful of walnuts. Pay attention to how you feel. You might just be surprised at what you discover. If you enjoyed this journey, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and share this with someone who could use a brain boost. Thanks for watching.